Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, today morning we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 5. We have been reading how Durvāsā Muni, after he came back after a year, Ambarish Maharaj was still waiting for him, didn't eat any food, just had some water, and he fed Durvāsā Muni nicely. And he himself took prasad. They became cordial friends. They became friends then, Durvāsā Muni went to Brahmalok also to glorify the devotee, to glorify Ambarish Maharaj, uh, to glorify the position of the devotee. We heard that how devotees like Ambarish Maharaj, they understand Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Yeah. So, because he's a devotee, he has devotion to Krishna, so he understands the Brahman, the Paramatma. He has this knowledge. Now coming on to text 26. Shishuku Vachan
Shri Shukra Uvacha
Athambarishasthanayeshu Rajyam
Atha Amirishasya Tanayeshu Rajam
Samana Shileshu Visrijya Dhiraha
Samanashileshu Brisajasya Dhiraha
Vanam Vishe Viveshatmani Vasudeve
Vanam Viveshatmani Vasudeve
Mano Dadattvastaguna Pravaha.
Mano Dadas Dvas Guna Prabhavaha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Sukadev Goswami continued, thereafter, because of his advanced position in devotional life, Maharaj Ambarish, who no longer desired to live with material things, retired from active family life. He divided his property among his sons, who were equally as qualified, and he himself took the order of Vanaprasth and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully upon Lord Vasudeva. As a pure devotee, Maharaj Ambarish was liberated in any condition of life because, as enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami, a devotee is always liberated. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasagera nikhilasu api avasthasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. In Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami thus instructs that if one's only desire is service to the Lord, he is liberated in any condition of life. So here Prabhupada is explaining that Maharaj Ambarish, even though he was doing his duties as a king, he was liberated. We heard earlier that how he was engaging everything he had, his family, his wife, his children, his wealth, his citizens, everyone in the service of the Lord. So, and Rupa Goswami says that one who's serving the Lord, his only desire is service to the Lord, he is liberated. Jivan Mukta. Anywhere, everywhere, he is liberated. Maharaj Ambarish was undoubtedly liberated in any condition, but as an ideal king, he accepted the Vanaprastha order of retirement from family life. It is essential for one to renounce family responsibilities and fully concentrate on the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Therefore, Maharaj Ambarish divided the kingdom among his sons and retired from family life. So he was already liberated, but he was setting an example. The kings that time, the Raja Rishis, would retire. They would pass on the kingdom to one who is worthy, and then they would take up vanaprasth and completely dedicate themselves to spiritual life. Iti etat punyam akyanam
इति एतत् पुण्य आख्यानम्
ambarishasya bhupate
अम्रीशस्य भूपते
sankirtayan anudyayan
सङ्कीर्तन अनुध्यायन्
bhakto bhagavato bhavet.
भक्तो भगवतो भवेत्.
Anyone who chants this narration or even thinks of this narration about the activities of Maharaj Ambarish certainly becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur herein gives a very good example. When one is very eager for more and more money, he is not satisfied even when he is a millionaire or a multimillionaire, but wants to earn more and more money by any means. The same mentality is present in a devotee. The devotee is never satisfied thinking, this is the limit of my devotional service. The more he engages in the service of the Lord, the more service he wants to give. This is the position of a devotee. So Srila Vaishvana Chakravarti Thakur is saying, somebody who is looking for money, then no matter how much money one has, one wants more and more. Oh, I have million, let me become multimillionaire. I have, oh, let me get a billion then. So the devotees also has this, let me get more and more engaged in devotional service. He doesn't say, oh, now enough. He says he wants to serve Krishna more and more. Maharaj Ambarish in his family life was certainly a pure devotee, complete in every respect, because his mind and all his senses were engaged in devotional service. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor, vachamsi vaikunta gunanu varnane. Maharaj Ambarish was self-satisfied because all of his senses were engaged in devotional service. Sarvopadi vinurmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So Maharaj Ambarish, mind, mind was fixed on Krishna, senses fixed on service of Krishna. So he had no designation, Sarvopadi vinurmuktam. Is understood, I am servant of Krishna. All his senses he's engaging in service of Krishna. Nonetheless, although Maharaj Ambarish had engaged all his senses in devotional service, he left his home and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully at the lotus feet of Krishna, exactly as a mercantile man, even though complete in wealth, tries to earn more and more. This mentality of getting more and more engaged in devotional service puts one in the most exalted position. Whereas on the karma platform, the mercantile man who wants more and more money becomes increasingly bound and entangled. The devotee becomes increasingly liberated. So, what are we looking for more and more? And that's what we are going to get. What is it that we are eager for? More and more of what? The devotee wants more and more of devotional service. So gradually he is getting liberated. He's walking towards the door of liberation. Here Sukadev Goswami is saying that anyone who hears of this or thinks of this pastime of Ambarish Maharaj or who speaks about it certainly becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. Here's a benediction by Sukadev Goswami. So we can see that hearing about the pure devotees helps us to become pure devotees. Ambarishasya charitam
अम्बरीशस्य
अम्बरीषस्य
चरितम्
चरितम्
ye shanvanti mahatmanam
ये
ये शृण्वन्ति
शृण्वन्ति
महात्मनः
महात्मनः
muktim prayanti te sarve
मुक्तिं
मुक्तिं
प्रयान्ते
प्रयान्ति ते
सर्वे
सर्वे
bhaktya vishnu prasadataha.
भक्त्या
भक्त्या
विष्णोः प्रसादतः.
साधतः।
By the grace of the Lord, those who hear about the activities of Maharaj Ambarish, the great devotee, certainly become liberated, or become devotees without delay. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Durvāsā Muni's life spared. So, by the grace of the Lord, Sukadev Goswami is saying, who's hearing about Maharaj Ambarish? Maharaj Ambarish is a great devotee. They also gonna become liberated, or they will become devotees without delay. Soon coming, very soon coming. Any comments, questions? You finished this chapter. Anyone
Okay.
wanted to say anything
Amrish
about the chapter?
Maharaj ki jai.
Hmm.
It's really
Ambarish
beautiful.
Maharaj
Yeah,
ki
on
jai.
such a auspicious occasion we finished. It's Ekadashi, and he started on Ekadashi. The whole story started on Ekadashi.
Hmm.
So,
Good
and
connection.
here, yeah, and here we have Ekadashi. So, like we can remember him on this very special day to give us more bhakti, and it's really nice. Like how Ekadashi is the giver of bhakti, the Stithi is Bhakti Janani, and how we are hearing this beautiful narration about the Bhakta, pure devotee of
Hmm.
Lord Vishnu.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
And
Thank you.
frankly speaking, we have heard this, I have heard this so many times, but I never knew that how powerful he was, like how even Durvāsā Muni glorified him. Like we have just heard, like, but like when we read it particularly, then those small details are very impactful.
Yeah, I
That he
agree.
waited for
Yeah.
100 years, like he just stood there for
1 year,
one year,
not
sorry,
100.
not 100. Yeah, it was always 100. I don't know why. So like he waited for 1 year. It's not easy. We can't even imagine, but he was there standing 1 year. So
Yeah.
like these small details make you
Yeah.
understand the Leela very.
And how he transformed even Durvāsā Muni, being a yogi, mystic yogi, a very powerful yogi, how he changed, right? Even he,
Transformed him. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Here, Ambarish Maharaj, he's a king.
yeah.
Durvāsā Muni is a Brahman, a yogi. But yet we can see, because Ambarish Maharaj is a pure devotee, really so dear to the Lord. So we can
And
see
like,
here the protection of the Lord for his devotee.
They say devotee is a topmost, right? Yogi.
Topmost yogi. That's right. Yeah, devotee is topmost yogi. Yogi is one who is in samadhi, right? Samadhi, fixing the mind
Yeah.
on the Paramatma. So the devotee is a yogi because his mind is fixed on Krishna, and everything he's doing, all his activities are to please Krishna. So topmost yogi. Yeah.
and so like we read in the Bhagavad Gita also, like you, like very beautifully, it was mentioned by Prabhupada in the book, that the same thing, that how look Krishna action, plan in action, like what he says in Bhagavad Gita, it is happening here.
Yeah, we can see Krishna's
Yeah,
words coming true
true.
here
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Bhagavatam. Yeah.
It's also so powerful. We just have to realize it.
Yeah. So now we are going on to another pastime. So now we have finished Ambarish Maharaj, pastime of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj ki jai, and we are going to read chapter 6, Downfall of Saubhari Muni. Another pastime is beginning here, another narration. I'll read the summary by Srila Prabhupada. After describing the descendants of Maharaj Ambarish, Sukadev Goswami described all the kings from Shashada to Mandhata. And in this connection, he also described how the great sage Saubhari married the daughters of Mandhata. Maharaj Ambarish had three sons named Virupa, Ketuman, and Shambhu. The son of Virupa was Prashadashva, and his son was Rathitara. Rathitara had no sons, but when he requested the favor of the great sage Angira, the sage begot several sons in the womb of Rathitara's wife. When the sons were born, they became the dynasty of Angira Rishi and of Rathitara. The son of Manu was Ikshvaku, who had 100 sons, of whom Vikukshi, Nimi, and Dandaka were the eldest. The sons of Maharaj Ikshvaku became kings of different parts of the world. Because of violating sacrificial rules and regulations, one of these sons, Vikukshi, was banished from the kingdom. By the mercy of Vashisht and the power of mystic yoga, Maharaj Ikshvaku attained liberation after giving up his material body. When Maharaj Ikshvaku expired, his son Vikukshi returned and took charge of the kingdom. He performed various types of sacrifices, and thus he pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Vikukshi later became celebrated as Shashada. Vikukshi's son fought with the demons for the sake of the demigods, and because of his valuable service, he became famous as Puranjaya, Indravaha, and Kakutstha. The son of Puranjaya was Anena, the son of Anena was Prithu, and the son of Prithu was Vishwagandhi. The son of Vishwagandhi was Chandra, the son of Chandra was Yuvanashva, and his son was Shravasta, who constructed Sravastipuri. The son of Shravasta was Brihadashva. Brihadashva's son Kuvalayashva killed a demon named Dhundu and thus became celebrated as Dhundumara, the killer of Dhundu. Okay, so there are a lot of names. Sounds a little confusing, but we are going to still read on. The sons of the killer of Dhundu were Dridashva, Kapilashva, and Bhadrashva. He also had thousands of other sons, but they burned to ashes in the fire emanating from Dhundu. The son of Dridashva was Haryashva. The son of Haryashva was Nikumba. The son of Nikumba was Bahulashva. And the son of Bahulashva was Krishashva. The son of Krishashva was Senajit, and his son was Yuvanashva. Yuvanashva married 100 wives, but he had no sons, and therefore he entered the forest. In the forest, the sages performed a sacrifice known as Indra Yagya on his behalf. Once, however, the king became so thirsty in the forest that he drank the water kept for performing yagya. Consequently, after some time, a son came forth from the right side of his abdomen. The son, who was very beautiful, was crying to drink breast milk, and Indra gave the child his index finger to suck. Thus the son became known as Mandhata. In due course of time, Yuvanashva achieved perfection by performing austerities. Thereafter, Mandhata became the emperor and ruled the earth, which consists of 7 islands. Thieves and rogues were very much afraid of this powerful king, and therefore the king was known as Trasadasyu, meaning one who is very fearful to rogues and thieves. Mandhata begot sons in the womb of his wife Bindumati. These sons were Purukutsa, Ambarish, and Muchukunda. These 3 sons had 50 sisters, all of whom became wives of the great sage known as Saubhari. In this connection, Sukadev Goswami described the history of Saubhari Muni, who, because of sensual agitation caused by fish, fell from his yoga and wanted to marry all the daughters of Mandhata for sexual pleasure. Later, Saubhari Muni became regretful. Thus he accepted the order of Vanaprasth, performed very severe austerities, and thus attained perfection. In this regard, Sukadev Goswami described how Saubhari Muni's wives also became Perfect. So here now Srila Sukadev Goswami is beginning the narration of Saubhari Muni. We are going to read in detail, text-wise, as narrated by Sukadev Goswami. Okay. Shishukuvacha
Sri Shuka Vacha
Virupa Ketuman Chambur
Virupa Ketuman Chambo
Ambarisha Sutastrayam
Ambarisha Sutastrayaha
Virupat Prashad Dashvo Bhut
Virupat Prishadash Bhut
Tatputrastu Rathitara.
Tatputrastu Ratitaraha.
Sukadev Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, Ambarish had three sons named Virupa, Ketuman, and Shambhu. From Virupa came a son named Prashadashva, and from Prashadashva came a son named Rathitara. So Ambarish Maharaj's children now. Sukadev Goswami is mentioning his three sons, and then one of his sons, Virupa, had a son named Prishadashva, and Prishadashva had a son named Rathitar. So, like how, seeing the family history of, we are hearing of Vaivasta Manu, right? All this coming in the lineage of Vaivasta Manu. Rathitarasya Prajasya
Ratitarasya Prajasya
Bharayayam Tantaveritha Rithitaha
Bharyayam Tantaveritaha
Angira Janayam Asa
Angira Janayam Asa
Brahma Varchasvina Sutan.
Brahma Varchasvina Sutan.
Rathitara had no sons, and therefore he requested the great sage Angira to beget sons for him. Because of this request, Angira begot sons in the womb of Rathitara's wife. All these sons were born with Brahmanical prowess. In the Vedic age, a man was sometimes called upon to beget sons in the womb of a lesser man's wife for the sake of better progeny. In such an instance, the woman is compared to an agricultural field. A person possessing an agricultural field may employ another person to produce food grains from it, but because the grains are produced from the land, they are considered the property of the owner of the land. Similarly, a woman was sometimes allowed to be impregnated by someone other than her husband, but the sons born of her would then become her husband's sons. Such sons were called Kshetrajat. Because Rathitara had no sons, he took advantage of this method. So this is in Vedic times. It is not in today's times. This is Vedic times that uh, somebody who's higher, like Angira Muni, he's a Brahman. So he's being called upon by Rathitara, who's a king, to beget children in his wife's womb, and these children will be called Rathitara's children. Like how we see also uh, Srila Vyasadeva was called to impregnate, uh, which is it? Vichitra Virya's wives. Yeah. And we see that also Pandu's sons, they were actually sons of demigods, but they're called as Pandu's children. So then these children were called as the sons of the husband. Comments, questions?
It's not like surrogate, different, right?
Surrogate.
Surrogate
No,
is
no,
when
it's
they
in
put
the
offspring
womb of
together.
the wife.
Wife,
Yeah,
surrogate.
so not surrogate. Yeah, but it's because somehow somehow the man is not there or not able to, or some circumstance, then a higher personality is called
Yeah. Yeah, we saw in that Pandu, so in
Pandu.
Absent.
Yeah, we
Yes.
saw that. We saw that how Vyasadeva was called also.
Yeah.
And now we are hearing in this Angira Muni is called on. So it is just for the matter of, you know, so that the kings, because the kings need children to manage the kingdom. They need the sons to carry, to forward the dynasty. That's how we are reading so many names, right? This one's son was this one's son was this one.
Yeah.
How the lineage is coming. So it was
So
only
what
for
we
that
heard
purpose.
earlier, the Puran Jaya and Prithu, all that, what we heard before, right? I think is it similar? Those the names that mean those they are the same. What we
You
heard
know,
was
when I read Purunjaya also, I was wondering, but
Puran Jaya,
yeah,
Prithu,
I'm not sure. Prithu for sure, no, because Prithu Maharaj was the son of King Vena,
Hina, yeah.
right? Vena was the son of
Mm.
what was written. His father's name was also mentioned.
Rish,
Anga,
Rishabdev? Oh,
no,
no,
was it
Anga.
Anga? I think it was Anga. So for sure,
Yeah.
not Prithu. So these are just like, names which are being
Mm.
like same name people.
Same name, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, same names. So we're going to hear about Saubhari Muni in this chapter. After we hear all these different names, then we are going to come up to Saubhari Muni. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.